name association is something I developed after our first interview. I say developed, I think I stole it from someone else. But I'm basically going to give you a sentence, a description, and you tell me, for everybody you've worked with in the wrestling business, the first name that comes into your head. And the first one is funniest person in the locker room.
Can I give you two?
Of course you can. You can't say yourself.
Okay. Mick Foley and Owen Hart.
Mick Foley. I've never heard that name before. Why Mick?
Yeah, Mick had a really dry sense of humor, but he was funny. He had a really good sense of humor.
You know, I was actually about to do the Brad Armstrong memorial question because everyone says Brad, so it's nice to have some different names for that one. The next one is last man standing at the bar.
From drinking or fighting?
It's funny, you can always tell the fighters, because most people think drinking, but yeah, I do mean drinking, yeah.
Drinking, Ric Flair. I mean,
there you go.
He was noted. Where I've been on a lot of tours with Ric Flair, and unfortunately, I've been on a plane from Rick going over to UK, where he was walking up and down the aisle doing his strut naked. So Rick can do it all, man.
He can stay up all night, so I'm told anyway.
Yeah.
The wrestler who wouldn't go to the laundry as often as maybe people would like them to.
I got to go back to Mick Foley.
Sorry.
He could sleep wherever he could, whether it was on the couch in the lobby or whatever, to save a few bucks.
Most memorable thing that you saw happen on an airplane? Or was it Ric Flair again?
Most memorable thing I guess the ribs that people would play on each other. You know, they try to shave off someone's eyebrow or silly things like that were always big laughs and stuff. But Ric Flair definitely brought out a lot of humor on the planes, you know?
I bet you did. Here's one that we sometimes get a name on. The most high-strung. It's like edgy or nervous kind of guy.
Strong. Steve Blackman was pretty high strung, you know. He was, from what I remember, but he's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. Just he was just an intense guy, you know. Let me think who else was pretty intense. Sid Justice or whatever, you know. Sid was intense also. But I mean, I liked those guys, and they just were intense, man. And Sid just had a look about him like he was gonna kill you. You'd say hello. Hey Sid, how you doing? He's just like, I'm doing good. You know, it's like just whoa.
Next one. Some people don't want to say the worst ones, but the best and worst road agents. You can just give us the best ones if you prefer.
The best ones. For me, I like George the Animal Steel.
He's the one who comes up in the worst all the time, George Steele.
Yeah, to some people, I understand that, you know, because he reported a lot of stuff to the office from what I hear, you know. But to me, he was always really nice and funny with me, you know. And then Blackjack was always really kind to me. You know, I mean, everyone has their different opinions and views of things, but for me, those were some of the guys that I liked.
I'm glad to hear a bit of a love for George the Animal Steel. He never gets it on that question.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Now I'm going to skip this one because this is sort of beyond the riots era that you were in. But normally I ask most memorable riot you witnessed. Smoothest worker.
Eddie Guerrero. Man, he was easy. Ric Flair, because he does kind of the same matches over and over, so you kind of know all his moves. It was really easy to work with him. But I like the intense matches, like with Stone Cold or DDP or guys that Steve Regal. Was another one that was really fun to work. Triple H, another guy, great to work with. I got to wrestle those guys so many times, you know, and I learned so much from each of them. Arn Anderson was like a night off, and he was funny to work with too, though, man. You know.
Does he Starrcade '94? Because I've just watched it while I was in the gym about a week ago. I remember.
Was that the boxer versus wrestler match?
I don't know if that was boxer versus wrestler. I know that Robert Parker's in the corner of Arn. And I think it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't the boxer one. I think it was just a straight match for the
Okay.
TV
Was it
title.
for the world television title or no?
Yeah,
Or
it was for the TV title. You do beat him.
okay.
And do you know what? Someone else wrote in and asked, did you ever hurt yourself doing those sunset flips off the top rope?
No, I didn't. And it's funny because I kept trying to go further and further with it, like make it, I'd say be in the center of the ring, and they go that far. And I go, even if you're back a foot or two, it's okay. I can make it. And I would just sail through the air. And luckily there's one match with Vader that's people might remember that I actually overshot him and just landed on my back, and he kind of fell back into me to not make me look so bad. But I have overshot it, but I never got hurt doing that move.
Good. You just got like the art of like the roll essentially, so you never took the full
Yeah,
impact.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a stunt man where you roll with it. I see stunt men jump off these second story, third story buildings with no net or nothing. They just as they land, they just roll. So it's a way of taking the impact off you.
Yeah, it's almost like a lucha libre way of doing it because they don't
Yeah.
don't do the bumps really, do they? I've got a few more. Then we'll see how much we can squeeze in. Biggest ladies man, cannot say yourself.
Wasn't me, definitely. I wouldn't say myself. I was always married. The biggest ladies man. That's like,
I was going to say who can name publicly.
um, I mean, you got to go with the oh, what's the name? Papa Shango,
Oh,
the
Godfather.
Godfather. Yeah, Godfather. Yeah. I mean, he worked the gimmick. you know.
Good man, good man. Loudest spot caller.
Loudest. Well, I've been in the ring with some really good ones. Man, because it's so hard to memorize things while you're working. And there's some guys that are really good, but loudest. I think who like it's not so much loud. It's like when you're in a smaller arena and the people feel like they're right on top of you, and it's not the crowd isn't really loud during the matches, and it's so quiet, and then you hear someone say, "Tackle, drop down, reverse the hip toss," and throw you off the rope or something. I mean, I can't think of anyone, but I just remember these happening. But I've always been in the ring with really good ones that were kind of just picking you up, had their head near their ears, or picking you up off the ground or something and calling the spot. Steve Austin was classic at it. Triple H was really good, but who was a bad one? I can't think of a bad one. I really can't. I'd have to really think about my matches and think about where there was a really bad one. No, I can't think of one.
No, don't worry about it. Two more. Most legit, tough, badass.
I mean, obviously, when Ken Shamrock came in, I mean, he was known as the world's dangerous man. Um, I know we all. I mean, when you look back on his career, he fought some of the toughest guys and beat some of the toughest guys in the world. I mean, towards the end of his career, obviously, he was getting up in age and stuff, and everything. There's always someone coming up that's tougher, but legit badass would have to be. I would say Ken Shamrock.
Well, and to sort of piggyback on that for the last question in this little game, the most memorable backstage fight that you witnessed?
Paul Orndorff and Vader.
Oh,
I was right there.
Everyone says they were in the locker room, but you were.
Oh, I seen it. I seen the kick. See, Vader kind of slipped. I don't know if anybody ever tells you that part of it. But he kind of slipped because it was like, there's oil on the floor. There's these guys' boots on. And I remember he slipped. And when he fell, Orndorff just went off and football kicked him, and just destroyed him.
There's a second part to it, isn't it? Didn't they have like two scuffles? Or was that a different
Well,
part
I
of the
think it
second
was
one?
after that they came back out, but I don't. The other scuffle, as far as I can remember, I just seen the first one, so I don't really know about the second one. I don't know how that one turned out, but I just seen the first one where he really nailed him.
I actually tried to take a guess of what you were going to say, and I was thinking that you may have said Van Hammer versus William Regal at Dallas's house.
I didn't even know they ever got in a fight. Was that
Apparently, Regal just walked up to him and headbutted him.
Oh, that's not much of a fight, is it?
No.
It's more of an attack.